We begin tonight with breaking news in one of Australia's longest unsolved murder mysteries. Zarisha Bradley, there could be a major development in the Peter Falconio case.
Hello, I'm Paul Barry. Welcome to Media Watch. And if you're into Friday night whodunits, 9 News had a real thriller 10 days ago.
Michael, multiple sources have told 9 newspapers bones discovered in the outback back near Alice Springs will be tested to see if they belong to Peter Falconio, the British backpacker murdered in 2001.
Falconio's remains, of course, have never been found. So when veteran crime reporter John Sylvester published his scoop across Nine's online mastheads, everyone took note.
Outback remains to be tested for murdered backpacker Peter Falconio.
The Daily Mail called it a stunning development, while Britain's Talk TV told viewers
the remains were found in a location consistent with an area where Falconio's body was suspected to have been dumped.
The Age's John Sylvester said his story was based on multiple sources who confirmed the bones have been discovered and would now be cross-checked against the Falconio case because of their age and location. But Sylvester cautioned that NT police were
tight-lipped on the find because the identity of the remains is yet to be established.
So, a 2-decade mystery solved? Afraid not. Only 2 hours after Nine broke the story online, NT police loosened their lips, issuing a statement to say
no human remains have been located and a search is not currently being conducted. Current media reports are factually incorrect.
In other words, wrong, wrong, wrong. And Nine's response? To retract the story and hit the phones, explaining next day.
During that process, the reporter received new information that cast doubt on the accuracy of the original story. We withdraw the article and apologise for any distress its publication may have caused Falconio's friends and family.
Whoops. Luckily, Channel 9's Perth reporter was wise enough to add this rider to the end of her TV story.
There have been previous discoveries linked to Falconio that have proved fruitless. Time will tell whether it's a breakthrough this time.
Unfortunately, time did not tell soon enough for readers of the Saturday Age, who long after the story had been taken down online were treated to this front-page headline.
Remains found in Alice, tested for Falconio link.
That story also ran in early editions of the Sydney Morning Herald. Whoops again. And now to Fox News and Donald Trump's big lie that the 2020 election was stolen from him. A lie which fueled the Capitol riots 2 months later, in which 5 people died. Fox's #1 star Tucker Carlson told viewers that if the fraud had indeed taken place,
it would amount to the single greatest crime in American history. Millions of votes stolen in a day. Democracy destroyed. The end of our centuries-old system of self-government.
And plenty at the Fox network claimed it had. Or let Trump's legal team of Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani do that for them.
The machine ran an algorithm that shaved votes from Trump and awarded them to Biden. They used the machines to trash large batches of votes that should have been awarded to President Trump. And they used the machine to inject and add massive quantities of votes for Mr. Biden.
Crazy claims like that were encouraged by Fox hosts for months, even though the machine's manufacturer, Dominion Voting Systems, which is suing Fox for $1.6 billion, warned repeatedly that they were false. Now, in filings released 11 days ago, Dominion is claiming
from the top down, Fox knew the Dominion stuff was total BS. Yet Fox spread and endorsed these outlandish voter fraud claims about Dominion, even as it internally recognised the lies as crazy, absurd and shockingly reckless.
Dominion's filings reveal a treasure trove of texts and emails between hosts and executives at Fox to back up their claim. Tucker Carlson told his producer,
Sidney Powell is lying, bitch.
Another host, Laura Ingram, told Carlson,
Sidney is a complete nut. No one will work with her. Ditto with Rudy.
And Rupert Murdoch told Fox executives after watching a chaotic Giuliani-Powell press conference on the 19th of November, it was
really crazy stuff.
So why did Fox repeat the lies? Short answer, because money was more important than truth. And because viewers were abandoning the network in the belief that Fox had betrayed their president.
What is this happening here? Why is Arizona blue? Did we just call it?
This is a big development.
Yeah.
The Fox News decision desk is calling Arizona for Joe Biden. That is a big get for the Biden campaign.
On election night, Fox News caused a sensation by being the first to call Arizona as a win for Biden. And even though that call ultimately proved right, viewers were outraged, as internal communications at Fox reveal.
Holy cow, our audience is mad at the network.
They're furious.
Our viewers are also chanting Fox News sucks, something I have never heard before.
Viewers were deserting in droves, switching to Fox's upstart rival Newsmax, which was letting Powell and Giuliani push Trump's baseless claims. But, despite concerns about damage to the network, Fox at first refused to follow suit. On the 7th of November, the Murdoch's New York Post urged Trump to stop the stolen election rhetoric and get Rudy Giuliani off TV, adding,
"It undermines faith in democracy and faith in the nation to push baseless conspiracies."
Fox CEO Suzanne Scott made sure it was seen by key people at the network, and Rupert Murdoch thanked her for doing so. On that same day, Jeanine Pirro's weekly show was canned to stop her pushing the stolen election claim. But eventually, the worm would turn, and almost all the key Fox hosts would play a part in spreading the big lie. Starting on 8th of November with Maria Bartiromo.
Sydney, we talked about the Dominion software. I know that there were voting irregularities. Tell me about that.
That is where the fraud took place, where they were flipping votes in the computer system or adding votes that did not exist.
Bartiromo was soon followed by Laura Ingraham, giving airtime to Powell. And then by Lou Dobbs, inviting Rudy Giuliani to make similar claims.
Their machines can be hacked, but it's far worse than that. Well, Dominion is a company that's owned by another company called Smartmatic. It was formed really by 3 Venezuelans who were very close to the dictator Chavez of Venezuela, and it was formed in order to fix elections.
Lou Dobbs, whose show has less nuance than North Korea, according to Fox News President Jay Wallace, then endorsed the stolen election theory, telling viewers,
"This looks to me like it is the end of what has been a 4.5, the end game to a 4.5 year long effort to overthrow the President of the United States."
2 days later, Jeanine Pirro's weekly show was allowed to go to air with more wild claims from Sidney Powell.
It is one huge criminal conspiracy that should be investigated by military intelligence for its national security implications.
And then Sean Hannity joined the party.
As in 10 jurisdictions, and they picked crooked Democratic cities to do it in, where they could get away with it, they stole probably about 2 million votes.
So, did any of those hosts believe what they were being told? Dobbs and Pirro apparently did, but Sean Hannity told Dominion's lawyers,
"I did not believe it for 1 second.
And he described people pushing the claims as
effing lunatics.
Tucker Carlson told Fox viewers,
"If you're a Trump voter and you suspect that this election was stolen, was rigged, you're onto something."
But privately, he branded the claims as ludicrous, and Powell and Giuliani totally off the rails. And his view was widely shared by programme producers and Fox executives. So why did the network spread the lies? Answer, to stop the audience deserting. On 9th of November, Carlson emailed Fox CEO Suzanne Scott to say,
"I've never seen a reaction like this to any media company."
And from that day on, according to Dominion,
Fox executives made an explicit decision to push narratives to entice their audience back.
Next day, Fox News President Jay Wallace texted Scott to say,
"Trying to get everyone to comprehend we are on war footing."
That included, says Dominion, coming down hard on anyone who dismissed the stolen election claims. Like Neil Cavuto, who cut away from a White House press conference, saying,
Well, I just think we have to be very clear. She's charging, the other side is welcoming fraud and welcoming illegal voting. Unless she has more details to back that up, I can't in good countenance continue showing you this.
The brand team at Fox warned that Cavuto's action posed a brand threat to the network. Reporter Jackie Heinrich also ran into flack for fact-checking a Trump tweet, approving a Fox News report that alleged votes were stolen. Tucker Carlson texted Sean Hannity,
"Please get her fired. Seriously, what the f***? I'm actually shocked. It needs to stop immediately, like tonight. It's measurably hurting the company. The stock price is down. Not a joke."
Heinrich amended her tweet, but did not get fired. And did this all work? Did telling viewers what they wanted to hear bring the audience back? Yes, it did. Fox briefly lost its top spot in cable news in January 2021, but it got back to #1 again and has stayed there ever since. So, how do the folks at Fox look back on it all? Let's get Tucker Carlson to sum it up.
Yes, the news media are profoundly dishonest. All of us lie from time to time. That's the human condition. But imagine if lying was your job. Imagine forcing yourself to tell lies all day about everything in ways that were so transparent and so outlandish that there is no way the people listening to you could possibly believe anything you said. Then imagine doing that again and again and again every day of your professional life for your entire life. Could you do that?
Wow, that is one tough verdict, and great to see such unflinching honesty. Except that was Tucker Carlson in 2021, not damning his fellow hosts at Fox or attacking Powell and Giuliani, but slamming journalists at rival media, whose talent for lying, he says, is Olympian. Well, Tucker, I think you're being a little bit too modest, because the liars at Fox clearly won that gold medal by miles. And win or lose, Dominion's lawsuit lays that bare. Fox's response to the Dominion filing is to call it an attack on free speech, which mischaracterises the record and uses
cherry-picked quotes, stripped of key context.
And it adds,
Dominion brought this lawsuit to punish Fox News Network for reporting on one of the biggest stories of the day.
But Harvard law professor Lawrence Tribe, among others, is unconvinced by their defence. He told The Guardian that Dominion's action was
likely to succeed and likely to be a landmark in the history of freedom of speech and freedom of the press.
And he said the filing
establishes that Fox was not only reckless, but also that producers, owners and personalities were deliberately lying and knew they were lying.
And half a dozen other US lawyers giving verdicts to the media clearly agree. And finally tonight, to some intriguing news from the top end.
Controversial Outback nurse who sensationally claimed kids were being raped in their homes in Alice Springs makes surprise appearance at court.
Last month, Rachel Hale captivated the nation's media with footage of Alice Springs crime.
They are the chaotic scenes that left Nurse Rachel shaken to the core.
I have never felt so terrified in my life. I feared for my life that night.
Hale, a Darwin-based cosmetic nurse, also made headlines with shocking stories about sexual abuse in Indigenous communities, telling The Today Show,
Why aren't the families and the parents being held responsible? And I guess the short answer to that is that these kids are being raped at home.
A blanket claim she repeated on 2GB.
It's an uncomfortable conversation, but these kids are being raped at home.
According to Rachel, whose claims also got a run on Sky's Peter Credlin, this abuse of Indigenous children was the reason all those kids, some as young as 5 and 6, were running loose on the streets of Alice Springs at night. So, what exactly was Nurse Hale's surprise appearance at court all about? Well, it wasn't about Alice Springs crime or sexual abuse. It was, unfortunately, something much closer to home.
Rachel Hale has been charged with using a carriage service to harass, making a false declaration and forgery.
With the NT News reporting that Hale pleaded guilty to
running a 7-month campaign of abuse against her Alice Springs beauty clinic rival,
who was a former employee who had nicked her client list. And how did that play out exactly?
Bombarding her 26-year-old victim with menacing, harassing and offensive texts and emails, and lodging a fake COVID-19 declaration.
Along with bogus social media reviews, all aimed at undermining her rival's business, with the judge calling it a, quote, ongoing campaign of harassment, and adding,
what she has done is outrageous.
Last Thursday, the 45-year-old was sentenced to 6 months in prison, suspended for 2 years. And why is this relevant, I hear you ask? Because it goes to the credibility of an individual who was promoted by the national media as someone who dared to tell the truth. Last month we questioned whether Rachel's sensational claims really were first-hand and from Alice Springs. And while we found that Hale did work in Aboriginal health before becoming a full-time cosmetic nurse, we cautioned, when the media gives someone a huge megaphone like that, they really ought to do some checks and dial down the hype. And last week in the Darwin local court, we learnt again why that's always important to do. That's all from us for tonight. Don't forget Media Bites, Thursdays on Facebook, YouTube and iView. But for now, until next week, goodbye.